When I'm out and it's my time to play, it's actually not the crew making a difference for you. I hear you get rocked anytime you drink it. The XM will bring 15 years. The XM Royal 10 years. XM 5 years. And the 750 milliliter bartender. Come on, we are Thanks extra match, yeah. Premium blend. Try out the 200 or the 750 ml. Yeah, man. Guaranteed for any occasion. Say you can't go wrong with Thanks from. Hey, you can test the quality. Thanks, yeah, more than Chanel. Thanks Supreme High Wine, the pot and the white wine. And for the fruitcake, greater than me, thanks every brandy. I give thanks, you can test the quality. When I'm out and it's my time to play, it's actually not the crew making a difference for you. I hear you get ranks anytime you drink it. Remember, drink responsibly. Dominicans, Dominicans, enjoy your property, protect your property. You homeowner and businessman, protect your property, enjoy your property. Can't wait for the hurricane, can't wait till you flood again, can't wait till you fly out and all your business coming out. Remember, no insurance company will insure your property when a storm is approaching. Get ahead of the hurricane season. Insure with a company who gives you the assurance of payment for your valid claim. Come speak with us today at the New India Assurance Company Limited, upstairs AC Shillingford and Company Limited, 24 King George Street, Roseau. Bring along an up-to-date valuation from a qualified engineer and get insured today.
Non-Stop Praises Ministries Incorporated presents Shana, the 5th edition, under the theme Come Alive in 2025. Friday, 18th April from 7 p.m. at the PSU building in Roseau. Come, let us denounce the spell of dog-eat-dog mentality in our nation, jealousy and greed, and instead let us love each other. Let us make a difference. Speakers include Evangelist Claude Weeks, Pastor Bon Vigilant, Pastor Alroy Hamilton. Let us dance and praise to the music of singing evangelist Julian Rivera, Hilltop Singers, Evangelist Valentine, Evangelist Heston Charles, host of Non-Stop Praises. We seek God to break the evil spells over our nation. Shana, the 5th edition. Come receive your breakthrough, deliverance, and victory. Friday, 18th April 2025 at 7 p.m. at the PSU building, live on Kyrie FM.
Treat yourself to the aroma of deep calming vanilla air freshener. Unwind with the luxurious scent of deep for a happy, healthy home.
Dominica, something big is coming. The countdown begins to celebrate the heartbeat of Dominica, our music, our legends, our rising stars. May 17th, 2025. Mark your calendars and save the date for Dominica Music Awards 2025. Presented by Ambassador Prince Radix and Creole Hits. Partners, QFM Big Station. Are you ready?
If you know your favorite store, dial it now. 612-1253. That's Mega. You can rely on Mega for some real deals on name brand clothing and electronics. High quality, low price. We are a wholesale and retail store located in Calabishi, right on the main road. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram as Mega Deals Dominica. Like our page. Check out our stuff. Call us, visit us. Would appreciate that. Come try it on. Love it. Buy it at Mega Deals. Your one and only online and brick and mortar store. Mega Deals is also on wheels. We make it convenient for your shopping. We deliver straight to your door. Email us at info@megadealsda.com. Rely on Mega Deals for some real deals.
If you know
quality, then you must know the manufacturers of Dominica's finest rums. Belfast Estate Limited, over 80 years leading the industry with exceptional standards and formidable customer service. We present the manufacturers of BB Rum, Soca Rum, Red Cap Rum, Cask Rum, and the signature Belfast Estate Rum Punch. With island-wide distribution daily, Belfast Estate Limited has cemented its mark as the distributor of choice for products like Eldorado range of rums and creams, Kubali Bear, Corona Bear, Guinness, Root Boy drink, and of course, Sunblast juices, Toffee snacks, Vitamalt, and Pine Hill juices. Call the office at 440-7032 or visit the distribution outlet at Jimmy Dominica. Follow on Facebook or Instagram at Belfast Estate. Belfast Estate Limited, your leading manufacturer and distributor of rums in Dominica.
The New India Insurance Company has reopened its doors in Portsmouth, offering the same great services you get in Roseau. Motor vehicle insurance, home and business owners, fire and related carriers, public liability, and so much more. Come, visit us today for insurance with a personal touch on Bay Street, Portsmouth, or call us at 445-4023. We are ready to serve you.
After working hard for many years in London, Goldwyn is now retired and back living in Dominica enjoying his pension. He too shook a smile so we can see the gold teeth and too shook a yank. I met him coming out of Floss's with the help of some staff carrying different foods, drinks, and meats to his vehicle. Myself too fast to go and ask the man what's up. Is their story start? Après moi fini travail ouais, so that Kadimo de San Dominic pour fini la hamwe. I said, Goldwyn, speak in English, don't force it. Then he said, I shop with intelligence, yeah? At Floss's, you get the most reasonable prices. Quarter bag flour, rice, sugar, milk, beers, soft drinks, water, rum, and so much more. Prices and quantities to fit your needs, mate. Because you just come down and want to tell me what I know about Floss's already. That's where I shop. It's not you alone that want to save money but still get the quality goods. That's right. And if you're listening to this ad, go and check out Floss's for yourself. Next to the Roseau Market, you can't miss it.
Now opened on Sunday from 10 a.m.
Hardware and home improvement, building supplies for you, kitchen appliances, even home decor too. Lumber, lawn, all your garden supplies, plumbing, welding, electrical supplies.
Visit Do It Center at the former Jane Acid Hardware location on Goodwill Road. Call us at 255-6890.
Do it. Center.
At Bloombox, we now carry and are fully stocked in granola fertilizers. Urea 46%, great for leafy green, 15-15-15, great for all vegetables or young fruit trees. 20-20-20, best for foliar spray and seedings and small vegetables. 12-12-17, great for tree crops, all flowering vegetables and fruits. 12-24-12, root crop fertilizer like dasheen and white potato. 12-4-28, great for tree crops, all flowering vegetables and fruits. Red potash for fruit trees and vegetables. All the fertilizers you need are available at Bloombox, located on Federation Drive, Goodwill, second property on the right after the Valley Link Road. Your one-stop shop for everything that grows. Let's bloom together.
Get ready, Dominica. The first annual CIG Games is here. A national track and field showdown like never before. Sunday, April 13th, 2025 at the Windsor Park Sports Stadium starting at 10 a.m. Witness the nation's young athletes sprint, jump, and push the limits in an action-packed competition. This is where future champions are made, and you won't want to miss it. The event is proudly sponsored by Caribbean International Group and the Dominican National Lottery in association with the Dominica Athletics Association and the Dominica Grammar School. Bring your family, bring your energy, and bring your voice as we cheer on the future stars of athletics. CIG Games 2025, running forward, reaching beyond.
Mouvement créole à secure. Tout le monde créole pour attention. Comité pour études créole Dominique. Et puis Radio QFM qui a présenté Mouvement créole. Tous les mardis soirs entre 6 et après-midi. Information, blague, interview, histoire, proverbe, discussion, reportage, apprendre parler et puis écrit créole. Lien avec ton peuple créole. Bon musique créole. Mouvement créole. Ça nous fait un rendez-vous, messieurs, mesdames, tous les mardis soirs. QFM qui est frappé avec bon power créole. Sans ça participer, qui est nous? Rapidement, là. Mouvement créole à seconde station QFM. Voici avec nous tous les mardis soirs, 6h pour Mouvement créole. Matchez ça.
I heard that you settled down, that you found a girl and you're married now. I heard that your dreams came true. Guess she gave you things I didn't give to you. Oh, friend, why are you so shy? Ain't like you to hold back or hide from the light. I hate to turn up out of the blue uninvited, but I couldn't stay away. I couldn't fight it. I had hoped you'd see my face and that you'd be reminded that for me it isn't over. Never mind, find someone like you. I wish nothing but this for you to get. Remember you say sometimes it's a love, but sometimes it hurts instead. Sometimes it's a love, but sometimes it hurts instead. You know how the time flies. Only yesterday was the time of our lives. We were born and raised in a summer haze, bound by the surprise of our glory days. I hate to turn up out of the blue uninvited, but I couldn't stay away. I couldn't fight it. I hoped you'd see my face and that you'd be reminded that for me it isn't over. Never someone like you, it's nothing but
Good afternoon, Dominica. Good afternoon to you, and welcome to the Talk on the Block. If it's on the block, we'll talk about it. All right, Dominica, we're here, and it's time for the talk on the block. It's already 1:11 in the afternoon. Just a few, maybe 2 hours ago, hour and a half ago, popular caller to the hot seat and the talk on the block, Lavinia Edwards, better known as Blue Blue, was arrested and, of course, bailed. And just want to tell you, this is part of an ongoing series of arrests related to the protest action that took place there on March 19th. And just to give us an update as to what is going on in the court is Mr. Ronald Charles, who is one of the attorneys representing the many protesters. Ronald Charles, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon to you, Martin. Good afternoon to your many listeners. As you're aware, today Miss Lavinia Edwards, better known as Blue Blue, was brought to the court this morning. She was processed this morning. When I say this, I mean she went for the interview, brought to court, and she got bail in the sum of $25,000, and she's now on bail. It was, to me, at the end of the day, she wasn't very well at all. Even she went through a couple of days before that, she was down with the flu, and she had some, illnesses. So it was really, really hard for her. However, she persevered and she is, went through the process, and now she's on bail. There's no bail conditions attached to her. And of course, she has to attend court on the 21st of August, 2025. Matt, as I say it all the time, the struggle continue. And at the end of the day, I am reliably informed that there are other persons that may be arrested and charged under the same law that almost 22 people have been charged under. But it is what it is. And when I say this, I don't say it lightly. I say it because Dominicans have to understand what time it is. We have to understand that, and I think I spoke about it in length yesterday. So I'm not going to repeat myself in this regard. But what I will say is that at the end of the day, our freedom of speech, right, is being affected. And I will also say, because of this, it is affecting us socially. It is affecting us economically. And that too aspect of it, it's not good for a society. People cannot be treated in this manner. Now, one may say, and the argument is they broke the law, and that is the case, and so forth. The question is whether or not that piece of legislation, that the Riot Act, is being used to basically do exactly what is being done now. And if you said 90% of the persons that have been arrested from the 19th of March 2025 to present, all of them are very vocal about their freedom, their constitutional right to speak out on matters that are affecting them as it relates to their homes, matters that are affecting them as it relates to school fees, matters affecting them as it relates to the right to vote, because this is really what is being touched on. This is really what is being affected by the way the incumbents are going ahead of doing what they do. So we have to question a lot of things. I believe that the people of Dominica are strong. We went through numerous hurricanes. We've went through a lot. Great grandfathers were slaves. We were treated like this. For many, many, many years. We have seen a kind of quoted way of bringing back what our people went through for so many years ago. But surprisingly, it's from the same sector of people, and it is sad. So we have to do what we have to do. I want to publicly thank all those who are assisting in one way or the other. The diaspora, who continuously they call me often. I'm getting a lot of calls. People encouraging that, go ahead and continue doing what you do. So thank you. They know themselves. So I don't want to go in detail. I also want to single out one person who have done extremely well, because, Matt, while we have a lot of people coming to the courts to stand surety or bail for the persons that for the various accused and or defendants, people like Isaac Baptiste have been using his profession to create. There is so many people that did not have a valuation, which the court was demanding that they have, and he did it for them voluntarily. So I want to say thank you, because last minute I would have been calling on him and saying, hey, this person need a valuation. And I know Mr. Baptist is saying, oh my God, what do you need to call my name for? But it is what it is. And I want to also find that all those that come from the United Workers' Party executive and creating that support, they, of course, from other parties, from the election Bosso and all and Freedom, all the people that are providing this support, the diaspora, as I said earlier, Joshua Francis, thank you so much for all the people providing that support. Clara is somebody I can always pick up the phone and we can have a dialogue. Thank you, Mrs. Blomquist, and the list goes on and on and on. And the reason why I want to say thank you to these people, because sometimes, yes, I am on the ground, I'm doing what I have to do, but sometimes you have to reach out to so many people to make sure it works out. So yesterday I made mention of the person that we do not want to forget is Mr. Samuel Durand. I can guarantee you, by the end of the day, the application will be before the DPP for examination and, of course, the court for bail for Mr. Samuel Durand. So that is where we at on this. So Matt, that is where we are. I don't know if you have any more questions to me.
Yes, I want to ask you, of course, because a lot of people have been asking. I just want to relate, the concerns as it relates to the readiness of some of the candidates that may have been selected by the United Workers Party, including yourself, to run for the Valley, the Roseau Valley, that constituency there. Ronald Charles, are you ready? Are you ready for the election if one is called tomorrow?
Well, Matt, let me say this from the offset. First of all, we have a political leader in the name of Dr. Thompson Fontaine,
Yes.
who I believe is in a better position or he will be the one to make this announcement. I believe that is his call. However, I will tell you, as it relates for me in my personal capacity, I'm always ready. I'm always ready because I'm always engaged in my communities. Cochrane, Trafalgar, just name it. I'm involved in cycling. I do all what I can because long ago we know election and we know community participation was a fundamental pillar to get people to represent you in parliament. Now it appears to be about who can give you the money to just go up for whatever reason, even if you had no prior engagement within the community. It was about a grassroots way of representing people, like Norris Charles when he represented the Roseau Valley, and the work that he did within the community long time before he got into politics. So I am ready. I'm also saying this to everybody and every constituency. This is where I stand. I'm ready to participate and to be part of this movement that is going to bring change and hope for the people of Dominica. I am also recommending, that is Ronald Charles, that if we can have a primary in every constituency to ensure that the best of the best represent us, I am for it. So, for example, in the Roseau Valley, we should have 10 people going up. And let the people say, okay, this is the person. I am ready for it. And I believe there are many other persons within the communities of the Roseau Valley that can do a good job too. So let us do the primaries. Let us do it because what I want to see is that collectively, and I'll say this for the record again, if you fall short of that primary run, all right, and you did not make it as the leading candidate, you must be fundamental in assisting the person who aids you in terms of the people choice. So what I'm saying is there's a lot of work to be done, and I said it yesterday too. We have to go back into the communities and assist in any way that we can. We have to look at the voters list. We're now looking at re-registration. So people have to make sure they get their IDs. Get your IDs and get your social security card and whatever you can use to go to the various officials to ensure that you have reconfirmed your name and you're ready no matter what. But I still don't want Dominicans to get too excited. At the end of the day, whenever that date is called, we will be successful and Dominicans will see a change. So we have to do what we have to do. We have to reach out, and assist certain candidates, and assist in terms of the whole mechanism. The PA system, if you have one under your bed that you didn't use for 20 years, bring it out and dust it out and give it to somebody, assist in giving water, whatever you can, so that persons can go and educate. There are so many people, Matt. I was so surprised. I went to a school recently and I was asking them about whether or not they're aware of the protest action, and not one student knew about it. They don't even show what I'm talking about. Because, again, we do not take time to educate the young people. We do not spread the message far and wide. Some of them, I would say, yes, they're aware of it, but a lot of them are not. And especially in the rural areas, sometimes they're busy doing their own thing, and, Q95, that is why I asked the people of Q95 and those who may have the necessary funds to assist Q95 to be able to have a reach that will go beyond the seas in Dominica, and would be able to hear it from every corner of Dominica, because that is the station that have been educating so many people on so many issues. I continuously say thank you. So, Matt, yes.
Well, let me ask you a question, Ronald, and I'm hoping that you're ready to answer this one. You know, you have, as we speak, you may have more in the future, but as we speak, why do you think you will be a better candidate than the incumbent there in the Roseau Valley? Why do you think
Oh,
you'll
Matt,
be?
that's a very good question.
Uh-huh.
Let me say, for example, that I did not come into politics just yesterday. From the age of 14, I've been heavily engaged in participating in community activities. I'm heavily involved in the music part of it. I'm involved in cricket, football, basketball. You know that we have one of the best leagues we had when the famous basketball star came to Trafalgar and he donated some things to us. We did that, you know. I am engaging my people in every way, fashion, or form. I'm not just there coming on a ticket and then running and not engaging people. I mean, the last Dr. Irvin McIntyre, including Colin McIntyre, they get into the positions that they hold for a couple years, for some years now, and ask me, look at it closely and tell me, have you seen an improvement in the tourism industry? Are more people now engaged in tourism products? Do we have all our vendors happy in the Roseau Valley? Most of them have gone. They left the industry because a place like the Roseau Valley that should be generating millions in terms of the tourism product, we still do not get the best of it. Sports in the Roseau Valley is dead. Dead. Is when I try my best within my capacity to try and engage it and try to bring it back and try to do this. Every time I do it, every time I say, okay, we're going to have a basketball league, then you have the construction of the basketball court, which we welcome. But guess what? It's been going on for maybe 2 years or a year and something. So there is no attention to the project that would engage our young people. Sports is dead. We used to have one of the strongest cricket teams in the area, the Roseau Valley, when Ayub Moransi, for example, used to be the captain of the team. We still have a basketball team that we won championships. Where are they now? Gone. No longer exist. We do not have any shows in the Roseau Valley anymore. We used to have what we call the Roseau Valley Queen Show, the Roseau Valley this. Notwithstanding, we create a lot of queens and, kings, notwithstanding that. We just had congratulate Miss Balso, again from the Roseau Valley, because we have the talent. What has happened to our cultural activities? Gone. All of this is under his reign. What has happened to agriculture? Dead. What are we talking about? We have created a dependency syndrome. How many jobs have persons lost in the Roseau Valley? How many areas that has just been neglected in the Roseau Valley? And it's under the watch of the gentleman who is the Minister of Finance. But yet still, so many things are being neglected. What about our adult education in the Roseau Valley? What is happening to that? What has he done in this regard? What is happening to our roads? Yes, we can say the geothermal project, but how long have you heard Mr. Henderson Vince speaking about geothermal? When Blackmore came and he said, well, at the end of the day, the price of electricity will drop. How long have we been suffering with light going left, right, and center? Now we have load shedding. Now very soon, everybody knows is light gone there, light gone there. But yet still we talk about a developing economy under the watch of Dr. McIntyre. I mean, that is what we're talking about. So many, yes, we can say thumbs up. The Cable car is doing well. They've employed 150 people. Yeah, congratulations. What happened when the project is over in 2026? So I believe I aim December of 2025, subjected to correction. What happened to the 150 young people that are laborers up there? You think they're going to keep them? It's not going to happen. You're going to have a new system. What happened? Where are our engineers? And I spoke about it yesterday. Who can we say that is overseas studying to be a better engineer to take up some of the investment that is going on? I mean, it is in front of us. We can't run away from it. Notwithstanding this is not a personal attack on the young man, Dr. McIntyre. This is a reality of the facts that must be tabled for people to see and hear and understand that it's not personal. I'm not into personal things. You know that, Pat. That's why I don't worry about who barbecuing barbecue and who frying chicken. It doesn't bother me. I worry about the welfare of our people. I worry about jobs. And I worry about people being independent. And when you're talking about in the Roseau Valley, we shouldn't even have to. This Roseau Valley is supposed to be the gem of Dominica. Millions of dollars supposed to be generated there. What happened to Papillot? Did Papillot get the assistance under the watch of Dr. McIntyre, who is the Minister of Finance? Have they gotten any help? I don't know. Maybe he can tell me. What happened to so many shops in Trafalgar that is now closed? And the rest of the Roseau Valley. What happened when you go into a shop now? Everybody wants to ask for a drink. Well, let me say most people, because they somewhat cannot afford it. They do not have a job. And what happens about when I make a recommendation for a young man to be engaged in the Roseau Valley projects, and then once it's Ronald Charles who made the recommendation, he must not get the job? What happens to that?
I heard promises of some houses to be delivered there in the Roseau Valley. Has that become a reality, Ronald?
Say that again. Sorry, I didn't get it.
I said I've heard of some houses to be delivered in the Roseau Valley. Has that become a reality?
Well, I haven't seen that yet. I know that once the first engagement they had in the Roseau Valley, the pronouncement was made by Dr. Irvin McIntyre that 13 people or 12 persons are going to get homes. Jordi Jou, Pierce Munpoko are homes. My part are improving. Nobody is there yet. You know why? We have to wait again. And these are the same set of people that have been waiting for years. This project, this building has been completed almost 8 to 9 years ago. Why on earth, if we love people, we believe in people, why is it taking us 8 years that if you say the sewer had problem, sue the contractor and then fix it and give people the homes? Stop using this thing, weaponizing votes. And if you don't think, then you wouldn't get it. That is what has been going on. There's so many people now that rent is being paid for them because they cannot afford it. They do not have a job. There are many people who is under the NEP program in the Roseau Valley, and they have to take weeks to get their money. Is that fair? Is that representation? Am I attacking anybody? Isn't that the facts? And the facts must learn to give us liberation, a sense of worth. And that is what we have to learn to do. Stop worrying. I said it yesterday. Let's stop worrying about the incumbents and the barbecue and most of those chicken, when you look at them on the grill that I saw, missing one thing. So I don't even know what is happening. Do not worry about these things. Let us worry about the future of Dominica. I heard a program recently talking about violence in school. Look at what is happening to our young people. Look at the allegations that have been made about our young people. Look at what is going on in the schools in terms of bullying. Look at what is going on. Our teachers being paid properly. Our policemen being paid. Our nurses being paid. Our farmers have been reduced to rubble. Because the incumbents know if you are in agriculture, then you can stand on your 2 feet. You can buy a vehicle by my good friend in Roseau by the name of Mr. Karam. Because you can go there and buy your pickup. And yet still, people are not opening their eyes and say this is a system that is slowly invading your privacy, your personal life, your economical life, and yet still we are not realizing that our children need that independence. So we'll do the parties for them. They'll go to it. It's okay. When they want to go to school, we'll pay for them. It's okay. When they want something to buy online, we'll pay it for them. When they want a house, we'll put them in one. Now tell me, revisit those people in 10, 15 years and tell me what you would have created. Why is it this is what is going on? Because the incumbents have wasted the bare fabric of the economic wealth of this country by using the natural, what we're supposed to use to develop the country, to buy votes, to influence people, to make people feel that I cannot say anything because my daughter will not get the scholarship. And I cannot come to your meeting, Mr. Charles, when you're keeping it next week in the Roseau Valley, because if I come, my name is going to go on a list and I may not get what they said that they're going to give to me. Fear. Look at Blue Boo this morning in the court of law. This is a lady that I've spoken out, to people, to thousands of times. She called your radio station. 71 years of age and is being treated like this. She has passed the threshold, but she's been treated like this. I've never been in a cell before. Well, today she wasn't in the cell, She went from home to the interview and so forth, and to commend the people who accommodated her. So, Mark, at the end of the day, this is why that I am in a better position to represent the people of the Roseau Valley, because I've been doing it all my life. And guess what? Even if I become a fatality in the next election, I will still continue to do what the Lord have asked me to do for many years. And I will not be feeling no way, because I know what I'm doing is for the upliftment of young people in Dominica and far and wide. So I believe that is the case. And therefore, Mr. McIntyre has not represented us in a way, because if he had represented, Ronald Charles, would have said, you know what, there's no need for me to be in politics. The system is okay. Things are happening. But you cannot have representation where you have destroyed every single sector of the Roseau Valley. Ask him how many shops that are closed now in Trafalgar. And I'm sure, like every other constituency, shops are closed. When they get a little energy back, when the election deba starts. It's alleged that persons are given money to put things in the shop to give people for free for votes. It's alleged. So what I'm saying is, we have to stop that. Tete-a-tete, level playing field, electoral reform. Why are you afraid about the electoral reform? Why? What is the big deal? If you're so strong, you've been doing so much. So many things you've been doing for so many years. Why you even worry about it? If I were in the incumbent's position, I wouldn't worry about nothing, because you are saying that we're doing great. And then they cut me and paste me again and say, well, Ronald Charles said the incumbent's doing great, because that's what they do. They deceive people. So we have a political leader in the name of Dr. Thompson Fontaine that I want to continuously tell him to hold strong, be focused. We have candidates that are strong, that have been doing their work from north, south, east, and west. You may not see them every day because everybody must realize, notwithstanding what our commitments are to the people of Dominica and the constituencies that we represent, we have a life to live because we have a family that all of us who have been in opposition from left, right, and center have been given the hard end of the stick. We don't get anything just like that. We work hard for it. And that's why we'll continue to work hard. That's why I'll tell the people of Dominica, there are better days to come. There are better days that are coming. And I have a dream. It's not far-fetched from Martin Luther King own. It's Dominican born and bred Ronald Charles saying, I have a dream. I have a dream that whenever this election is called, we're going to have a change of government. And when that change comes, we still have to understand that we are people. And I can say this, Ronald Charles speaking from Ronald Charles' perspective, that we're not going to go and, try to let it look like, okay, now we have won, so now it's day back to. No. If you do something wrong, we expect the law to deal with you. Not the Riot Act, because I'm sure I'll recommend to Dr. Fontaine that this is to be set aside. Notwithstanding that, if you do what you know you ought not to have done, and you're now in a position where you're on the other side of the stick, you expect the law to deal with you. So bear that in mind. We all have children, and therefore our children deserve to see a Dominica that is alive and kicking in terms of democracy. And taking away people's free speech, which is contrary to the Constitution of Dominica that we speak of, taking away their free speech, their free movement, their ability to speak and talk and feel like it's okay. So my child deserves a scholarship, and because I say, all you're doing nonsense with the electoral reform, all of a sudden she deserves a scholarship and she should not get it because Ronald Charles is not on our team. And you have people going around listening to conversation and labeling people and preventing the society to move collectively. And we're starting to look at people like us and them, like you carry a different passport. You forget the passport. All of us have the Cicero parrot on it. But yet still you want to segregate some and some this and some that. Because today you sit on a board. Today your child may get a scholarship, which I'm happy for. Any scholarship that we come, we are happy for it. All that come, we are happy for it. But tomorrow the tide may turn. And that is why we need to be level. We need to do things for the future generation. Matt, I am so disappointed that every single election cycle, we get this thing about who's ready and who's not ready. The people of Dominica that have to be ready, not the politicians. The people are the ones who go for the misery and have to buy, they go to the supermarket and do what they have to do. So they have to be the one that is ready. They have to be the one that is going to make the change. We can only advocate for it because we see a different light. But they are the ones who need to convince themselves that they want a better Dominica. Be it freedom, labor, no matter what it is, UWP. At the end of the day, they have to make that conscious decision. But what they're trying to do is segregate and let issues pass under the Liar Bridge without no issue. It is an issue. Matt, I continue to be... Let me stop. I get a text there telling me.
Enough, right? Enough.
Yeah, slow down. So let me slow down. Thank you for the opportunity. And thank you for all those who, in one way or the other, is reaching out to the people. Let us not forget them. Some of them will be back in court on the 21st of August, 2025. Some of them is the 30th of June, 2025. Let's continuously reach out to them. They are our freedom fighters. Take out the word fighters. All right, but they are, and therefore we have to stand with them. Please do not forget them. Please do not just realize this is a country's effort to bring a better Dominica. And I'm hope that the ministers are listening, and there are some of them within the ministry that know what is going on is wrong. They say it in a corner by themselves. They say it to their family. They know it's wrong. but yet still they condone. And this is not right. They need to speak up. You see, when the President Trump went up for election in the Americans' election, a lot of the Republicans were speaking out and saying they don't want Mister, they don't want Mister, they don't want Mister. You know, they speak out because they believe that is the way it ought to be. We have to speak out for righteousness. We have to be fair, you know, and that Dominica will be a better place. It's always a pleasure, Matt. It's
Always a
speaking to
pleasure.
95.
The same,
God bless you.
Ronald Charles. Okay, 449-3095. A lot of food for thought there from Ronald Charles. Dominica, we're gonna, of course, at this time, play you a commentary, if you will, suggesting that this administration is breaking new election laws. It's presentation by the President of the United Workers' Party, Lennox Linton.
My brothers and sisters of Dominica, listen up. The new Registration of Electors Act number 1 of 2025, the House of Assembly Elections Act number 2 of 2025, and the Electoral Commission Act number 3 of 2025 were passed in Parliament on the 19th of March 2025, assented to by the President on March 21st, 2025, and published in the Official Gazette on March 25th, 2025. These election laws are now in effect, and some of their provisions are already being broken by a ruling party hell-bent on ensuring that legal provisions for fair elections will not prevent it from cheating and stealing. The utterly corrupt steroidization of the confirmation and registration of voters, bringing confirmation and registration under the drunken influence of CWO, is already in full swing. The gift of payment of expenses for securing a passport as one of government-issued IDs needed for confirmation on the register is a ruling party bribe to influence votes, contrary to Section 60C of the new House of Assembly Elections Act. The provision of food, drink, entertainment at barbecues, pool parties, or other ruling party confirmation or registration events around the country amounts to ruling party treating for the purpose of corruptly influencing votes, contrary to Section 61A of the House of Assembly Elections Act. Roosevelt Skerritt, Rayburn Blackmore, Chief of Police, AG, DPP, these are the criminal activities undermining fair elections in Dominica that law enforcement needs to crack down on. So please, let's end the senseless, brutal, totally unjustified crackdown on persons who assembled to protest government actions in full accordance with their democratic rights and freedoms enshrined in the Constitution, our supreme law. Let's stop this injustice to innocent people, this disgrace of Dominica's name in the civilized world, and focus instead on the real lawbreakers who offend the rule of law and compromise our democracy. I draw your attention to Section 13.1 of the new Registration of Electors Act. It provides that on the effective date, meaning March 25th, 2025, the day on which the Act came into force, the existing list shall be adopted as the first register of electors under the Act. And then Section 13.2 goes on to provide that, quote now, within 3 days after the effective date was March 25th, 2025. Within 3 days means 26, 27, 28. By March 28th, the Chief Registering Officer shall cause the register of electors adopted under subsection 1 to be published on the website of the Electoral Office and in such other manner as may be prescribed and may be published in a newspaper widely circulated in Dominica. The Chief Registering Officer or the Chief Elections Officer has failed or refused to act according to the law. And this law says, at Section 46, any person not being a registering officer or assistant registering officer, which means The chief registering officer is included in that group, exercising functions under this act, and who does any unlawful or unauthorized act in relation to the register of electors commits an offense and is liable on summary conviction to a fine not exceeding $10,000 or to imprisonment for a term not exceeding 9 months, or to both such fine and imprisonment. So you mean to tell me we can be seriously prosecuting innocent people in 2025 under an 1897 law that is in breach of our 1978 Constitution while turning a blind eye to those committing offenses on the laws made in 2025? Like, seriously? Now, in terms of registration to vote for representation in Parliament, Section 33(2) of the Constitution states, quote, every Commonwealth citizen of the age of 18 years or upwards who possesses such qualifications related to residence or domicile in Dominica, as Parliament may prescribe, shall, unless he is disqualified by Parliament from registration as a voter for the purpose of electing representatives, be entitled to be registered as such voter in accordance with the provisions of any law in that behalf, and no other person may be so registered. The previous act, the previous Registration of Electors Act, disqualified persons absent from Dominica for more than 5 years and required their names to be removed from the register of voters. We all know that incompetence in managing the register of voters, accordingly, led to a bloated voters list with thousands of persons ordinarily resident overseas who were not eligible to vote in Dominica. In this new Registration of Electors Act, the ruling party seems to have moved to protect the franchise of overseas voters by removing the 5-year absence disqualification. But there are provisions in the new act for the removal from the register of voters the names of persons who have become disqualified for registration as an elector under the act. Now, residency in Dominica is a constitutionally mandated qualification to register to vote. A duly registered voter, therefore, becomes disqualified if he or she no longer meets any or all of the constitutionally mandated qualifications prescribed in Section 7 of the Registration of Electors Act. It is, in my view, unconstitutional and contrary to the provisions of the Registration of Electors Act, notwithstanding the provisions for confirmation in Part 5, to confirm persons on the register of voters who have become disqualified for registration or who are no longer qualified for registration. Section 38 of the Registration of Electors Act provides that, quote, a person who does not have the requisite qualifications for inclusion in the register of electors and who willfully makes a claim to be included in the register of electors commits an offense, end of quote. And this means that persons ordinarily resident overseas who do not now have the requisite residence qualification for inclusion in the register of electors and who seek to be confirmed on the register of voters will be committing an offense. The penalty is $5,000 or 6 months in jail, or both the $5,000 fine and the 6-month jail time. So be careful. Know the law, even though ignorance of the law is no excuse for breaking the law.
All right, Dominica, we're going to take a break for word from our sponsors. Will continue on the talk on the block. So many issues. Let's do that and come back.
The emperor, the conqueror, the champion, the lion is here.
Eastern Trading Limited massive Easter sale is now on, starting today until April 25th, 2025. 15% discount on all upholstery furniture, selected desks, and world-famous Ronix power tools. 15% discount on all television sets. 15% discount on 5, 10, and 15-year rum. 1 liter Pure Heaven 100% apple juice, 249.95. Joel margarine, 15 kilograms, 33 pounds, that is, now only $75. 1 liter Pure Heaven tropical drink, only $6.95. Canned tomato soup, now only $3.95. And check in store for many other special prices. A-Star Trading Limited. We are making a difference for you.
Step up for the game changer. The emperor, the conqueror, the champion, the lion is here. Dominicans, Dominicans, enjoy your property, protect your property. You homeowner and businessman, protect your property, enjoy your properties. Can't wait for the hurricane, can't wait till you flood again, can't wait till you fly out and all your business running out. Remember, no insurance company will insure your property when a storm is approaching. Get ahead of the hurricane season. Insure with a company who gives you the assurance of payment for your valid claim. Come speak with us today at the New India Assurance Company Limited, upstairs AC Shillingford and Company Limited, 24 King George Street, Roseau. Bring along an up-to-date valuation from a qualified engineer and get insured today.
Get ready to sway to the rhythms of jazz and Creole from April 19th to May 5th at the historic Cabarets National Park. The main stage event provides a stellar lineup. From Jamaica, sensational Etana, trumpet mastery of Trinidad, Etienne Charles, Dominica's jazz opera singer, Marie-Claire Giroux, plus the swinging stars, Abia Israel, Shalina, Mari Pascal, Colin XP, Colton T, and the Signal Band. Sunday, May 4th from 2 p.m. Dress to impress, Sunset Creole Chic. Tickets available online at dominicafestivals.com. It's Jazz and Creole 2025. Experience magic.
Dominica Q95 Radio is opened for your business in collaboration with the National Development Foundation of Dominica. Get ready to join Q95 Radio and NDFD for Nature Island Small Business Buzz, a live radio program bringing in empowerment to small business ideas and entrepreneurs across Dominica every Tuesdays and Thursdays from 4 to 5 p.m., offering a unique national platform for small, medium, and growing business enterprises in Dominica. Together, we'll aspire to connect, advertise, learn, collaborate, and witness small business entrepreneurs thrive and succeed in the fertile broadcasting soil of Q95 along with the NDFD. Join us on our journey every Tuesdays and Thursdays from 4 to 5 p.m. One unbroken, exciting hour of free Q95 radio small business promotion as together we explore all the challenges, the setbacks, the setups, the comebacks, stories, the history, the startups, the breakthroughs, the financing, the sweat, the toil, the sleepless nights, the heartbreaks, the triumphs, the business plan, the overall success in pursuing your small business dream come true in the Commonwealth of Dominica. Join veteran broadcaster Franklin Peter Moses and Mr. Donald Bacasio, highly skilled, qualified, sought-after business and entrepreneurial manager, small business development expert, and strategic business coach. Together, we're taking you and your small business to the pinnacle of success in the Dominican economic landscape. So don't miss Nature Island Small Business Buzz every Tuesdays and Thursdays right here on Q95 Radio, the big station.
Your side woman a little brooks. Her man a little brooks. But she telling you she want a BBL. But most importantly, you cannot say bottom on the radio. So NDFD is giving best business loans up to $20,000 and here's how you can get yours. You working a 9 to 5? Yes, sweet. You can get up to $10,000. True now, boy. Your business must be registered. You have to be employed for 18 months. Salary deduction only. No guarantor required. You get enough free add-on DNO for 1 month. 100 free business cards. No, but really and truly, what again you want? So what about the 20,000? It's the same thing except you must provide business records. And that's for people who are self-employed. Call them or WhatsApp them 275-6859. Go and get your BBL. You deserve it.
A fresh market. When money don't count and the money don't hurt you. A fresh market. Fresh market. It's a right day. We are open 7 days a week with the top of the line products. Well stocked supermarket and pharmacy, health and beauty care, fresh produce and meats prepared daily, hot and cold kitchen, ready to go meals, sandwiches, salads, and desserts at your fingertips. Easy access, located on the bayfront, environment friendly, and our staff are approachable and ready to assist. Have you figured out who we are? You got it. Fresh your one stop. Your money don't count and your pocket don't touch you. Fresh market, but it's a fine day. Fresh market.
All right, Dominica. Here's a brand new song from Pat Aaron. We want to introduce here this afternoon before we continue talking. We're going to replay as well. Pastor Randy Rodney was hard hitting on the commentaries last evening. There's a lot of time. Let's do this and come back. Mr. Pat Aaron.
I'm right with the extinction. Civil rights under violation. Who you trust, who you truly do. Always turn around and crack the whip on you. The only time they think of you when they need support from you. The only truth we ever know. If the truth they want us to know, what about our rights? Have the right to know. Have the right to know. Have a right to know. Have a right to know. When politicians think they're getting over, That's just smart, but not being clever. Because you can fool some people sometimes, but you can fool all the people all the time. People want to be told, have we been bought or so? What we call it nuclear bomb control. What would happen to our world if we have a right? Just like to know. Oh, oh, oh. I'd like to know. I'd like to know. I'd like to know. Power belong to the people. It's the way the people, they are comfortable. Remember where the foundation and every action has a reaction. People need to be told what to expect tomorrow. We're just dying to be told what they're doing to our world, because we have a right. Have the right to know. Oh, have the right to know. Have a right to know. Have a right to know. Have a right to know. Have the right to know. Have a right to know. Have a right.
Have a right to know. Songwriter Pat Aaron. Dominic, at this time I'm going to present you the talking points, talking commentaries from Pastor Randy Rodney when he spoke last evening. I'll give you a chance to talk sometime later. A lot to explore. Yes?
And the other things that we'll talk about tonight, I will tell you what it is. But to start with, I read an article that the IMF report of Dominica projects 4.5% increase in 2025, I believe. And they report that we had a 3.5% GDP growth in 2024. I don't know where the figures are. I am not an accountant myself. I'm not an economist, so I'll leave that for Dr. Fountain to unpack for you. However, what I will say about that is this. If we had a 3.5% increase in GDP, 3.5% growth in GDP in Dominica, if it had anything to do with most of you, let me know what your circumstances were, okay? If you feel that you had a 3.5% growth increase, if you think you had a 1% growth in your economy, in your pocketbook, in your kitchen, you need to let me know, okay? Because I want to know when they say 3.5%, what it means. Because you would think that if we have a growth, then, everybody will be growing. But as it were, apparently, some people get growing much and the rest of us do get nothing. So let me know. One of you economists in the audience can let me know when we have that big news that everybody needs to hear. What does it mean to the people on the ground? How does it affect people's pocketbooks? Or does it refer to macroeconomics in terms of government finances? And if it refers to government finances, we know on the books, even government have plenty money on the books. We observe that they almost a cash government now. They buy and sell by cash because maybe the money, the checks having a problem. Somebody told me that they have difficulty bringing any money to the country, and I said no, because you can bring it in purple bags, in black bags, in suitcases, and everything else on aircraft. If you have to bring the money in, they told me it's not so government have to bring their money in, is by transfers, and somehow the phone's not working to transfer the money. Just let us, and those of you who put the news out there, let us have an understanding for ourselves to know if it had anything to do with corn beef we buy, the sugar we buy, the milk we buy, and the bread that we eat. Okay, so people can better understand that. The second thing is, in fact, I will tell you, I will be talking for most of the program this evening. We will be discussing this, the whole question of your right to protest. We will talk about it. Some of you have concerns. Some of you are still living almost fearful. I will talk about that. Suffice it to say, I will share something with you about this that is observant, and in international analysis comes out, and it means the same thing everywhere. Anytime you have that kind of thing happening in a country, what we have here, where people are arrested on what they think is their right for dissent. People are arrested for it, so they shouldn't clamor, they shouldn't make noise, they shouldn't speak. The people who are arrested usually become heroes. And I want you all to know that in every jurisdiction that has happened. Why? Because once you're arrested on these kinds of charges, what eventually happens is those charges fall out and the people become heroes. So let's see what happened in the Commonwealth. Okay? With regard to March 19th, here's what I'm going to say to you. On Kingdom Connection, we have never, ever promoted anybody to get involved in violence. We have, however, said that civil disobedience is the right of any person in a democracy. Okay? Having said this, I have done quite some reading over the last few weeks because I wanted to educate myself on some things. So I read the Riot Act of 1897. I think there are two amendments to that from 1897 to sometime in 1974. But I read the Riot Act. That Riot Act, if you ask me, sometimes we Dominicans we're a little lackadaisical, we laid back. We should toss the Riot Act out, burn it in the fire, and forget it. Okay? But we have a problem doing those things. It's like the shut your mouth bill is still on the books in Dominica. So we get very active on some things, and then we things die. People come and they distract us with parties, with meetings, with money, with ham, and we get distracted when we forget what we were supposed to be doing. But one of the things that I keep saying to people is that the shut your mouth bill of 1979 is still on the books. Nobody has taken it off. Nobody has reversed it. Nobody has said we will repeal this act. It is just like the Riot Act of 1897, which in any jurisdiction is unconstitutional, even in ours. Okay? And we will talk about that a little later. It's unconstitutional. There's no ifs, buts, or maybes about it. I had a conversation with somebody last week out of Dominica, and they referred me to an article by Amnesty International. And there's no way that could be legal. I went into the UN Charter on Human Rights, and I realized that this law cannot stand anywhere, not anywhere. It can't stand anywhere. Okay, so let's dismiss that. The police is doing what they're doing, and the police is doing what they're told to do. They too must know that certain things should not be done. So as far as that's concerned, that's what I have to say. However, on March 19th, it is my considered opinion, and the opinion of Kingdom Connection here, that Officer Williams is the guy who slapped that unarmed individual to the ground. Officer Williams should be placed on immediate administrative leave. Okay? He should be sent to his home to think about what he did while an investigation is taking place, along with along with Jeffrey James. Both of these police officers who have appeared in these videos should have been put on administrative leave. But this is the Commonwealth of Dominica. And the week after Mr. James, if you ask me, my assessment of what he did was malhandle someone, and I think there's a charge for that in the court. Okay, assault and battery, right? And he did that with absolutely no reason. The fact, if this news reporter was standing there alone and there was nobody else there, one could begin to ask, maybe he had some reason to do it. But that news reporter was standing with two other reporters, Curtis Matthew and Kewana Fontaine. And this officer assaulted this young news reporter, and he got promoted the next week. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, this is Dominica. He got promoted the next week. He becomes assistant commissioner, almost as though, go back and do that, so next time we'll make you commissioner. In the Commonwealth of Dominica, Jeffrey James and whatever Williams, this young man is, should have been placed on administrative leave with immediate effect. And there should be an investigation launched by an independent party. And I am sure they would find that these two people would be guilty. Now, here's what I say to you, Dominicans. And I mean what I say. We can change that. We can change that. Write placards, put it everywhere. Make T-shirts, put it everywhere. Walk the street and say that both Jeffrey James and Officer Williams should be placed on administrative leave. We don't want this police to police us. Because if you can do that to one person, you can do it to all. Right? So hear me. Instead of all of you sitting down in your corners talking, right, and lying and so on, every one of us should go to put our money outside, buy a 25 cents T-shirt, put a print on it, and that print should say Jeffrey James and Officer Williams should be put on administrative leave because I am fearful for my life. All of you should say that. I am fearful for my life if Jeffrey James and Officer Williams remain in force. When you begin to that, some officers will know that they have to act well. And I know former officer Irish and what's his other name? Clayville Mills thought that we are saying that for people to disrespect police officers. That's not policing. These guys must be disrespected because they are not carrying the honor of the uniform that they wear. Right? They are not carrying the honor. Respect is not something you give to people like $100. That's all. Respect is earned. Right? And these guys have lost respect. Absolutely have lost respect. While the police force is supposed to be a disciplined force, these guys have shown ill-disciplined. They must be disciplined. If I'm using that word correctly all the time. They must be put on leave and investigated and made to pay for the nonsense that they did on March 19th. Okay? And finally, on March 19th, I want to say to you this. When I heard all the explanations I'm hearing, few of them have made sense to me. And quite frankly, for all of you, I understand that everybody's constitutional rights must be carried out without affecting somebody else's right. And I understand that very, very well. Okay? Notwithstanding that, the police put up barriers at 5 a.m. in the morning on March 19th. I'm not asking you, I'm telling you. Okay? The barriers at Newton were up. The barriers by Fortune was up at 5 a.m. in the morning, and there were already police, right? Not in the great numbers that they were later on, already manning those barriers. So who impeded the free flow of people? You need to answer me. So who prevented people from going to 7-Eleven and Doasco and the business on High Street? Almost like you had a checkpoint for that. Who impeded their access? The police. Now, if there's a barrier and I want to go through hell and you stand behind it, then what do you want me to do? Stand behind the barrier that you have? I mean, That's not rocket science. Okay? So when people say, well, the people came and they prevented the travel of people on the road, it's not the people who prevented travel. The police put a barricade. Okay? The police put the barricade from 5 a.m. in the morning. Why? Because they did not want a voice of dissent to go to the People's Parliament to tell the parliamentarians that's who we are, that's what we want. And finally, on March 19th, Mr. Skerritt's report was appalling and downright foolish, if you ask me. To say that all the parliamentarians in Parliament voted for the bill, hence the people don't have a right to say no, is puerile, is childish, quite frankly, does not make any sense logically. Why? The parliamentarians should be representing the people. When the parliamentarians don't represent the people, between elections in a democracy, the people have a right to shout for themselves. And in any democratic country, a government pays attention to the voiceless, to the vulnerable, to the marginalized, and to those we call those on the lower side, if you like, of the echelons of society. In any good democracy. So to ask Prime Minister to tout that everybody in Parliament voted for the bill, and that means that nobody else should say anything about it, is absolute hogwash. Total stupidity, if you ask me. And we must get to the place where we have to talk to our populace to make them intelligent, not to make them more foolish. Okay? So all 21 people plus the senators can go in Parliament and say yes if they want. If 1,000 people say, while you're saying yes, we don't believe that that thing should happen, the 21 people, by the fact that they're in the People's Parliament, should pay some listening to other people. But of course, you wouldn't do that because you did say that you can't get everything you want, as though it's your thing. Your house, your car. Is you that building your house, you and your wife. So the wife says she wants a big kitchen. You say, no, we'll give her kubus, and you just give her kubus. You know what that is? Bullying. That's what that is. So my views on this and my views are numerous, and you can ask for them and you'll get them. But it's apparent that we're living in a totalitarian regime. Mr. Astafan took offense to that when I said that a few years ago. And he at the time he was touting himself as a constitutional lawyer. I don't know what he is now because I don't know what constitution he's looking at. But if what we're living in there now is not a totalitarian regime, then the definition must be removed from the dictionary. It must be taken out, erased, eradicated, because my understanding is a totalitarian regime is when the government will silence the people to do what they want to do. Ladies and gentlemen, we've been warning you for years, and we are where we are now because we have not decided to let the governing authorities know that we are the legitimate owners of the country. Until then.
Thank you, Pastor Randy Rodney. We can open up the lines here for the rest of the afternoon and to speak to the various issues we have explored this afternoon. Somebody saying, Matt, the government gave IMF fuzzy numbers, but the math is not matching in the people's pocket. $222, good afternoon to you.
Man, I can't say much to you because I feel under the weather.
I know. I
feel a lot better. I will talk to you.
Okay. Well, you're excused, Blue. You're excused, but we're happy to hear your voice.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
No problem. We're going to come back after this.
We are open 7 days a week with the top of the line products. Well, supermarket and pharmacy, health and beauty care, fresh produce and meats prepared daily, hot and cold kitchen, ready to go meals, sandwiches, salads, and desserts at your fingertips. Easy access, located on the bayfront, environment friendly, and our staff are approachable and ready to assist. Have you figured out who we are? You got it. Fresh your one stop. Fresh market,
Your side woman a little brooks. Her man a little brooks. But she telling you she want a BBL. But most importantly, you cannot say bottom on the radio. So NDFD is giving best business loans up to $20,000, and here's how you can get yours. You working a 9 to 5? Yes, sweet. You can get up to $10,000. True, now boy. Your business must be registered. You have to be employed for 18 months. Salary deduction only. No guarantor required. You're getting a free add-on DNO for 1 month. 100 free business cards. No, but really and truly, what again you want? So what about the 20,000? It's the same thing, except you must provide business records. And that's for people who are self-employed. Call them or WhatsApp them 275-6859. Go and get your BBL. You deserve it.
Dominica Q95 Radio is opened for your business in collaboration with the National Development Foundation of Dominica. Get ready to join Q95 Radio and NDFD for Nature Island Small Business Buzz, a live radio program bringing in empowerment to small business ideas and entrepreneurs across Dominica every Tuesdays and Thursdays from 4 to 5 p.m., offering a unique national platform for small, medium, and growing business enterprises in Dominica. Together, we'll aspire to connect, advertise, learn, collaborate, and witness small business entrepreneurs thrive and succeed in the fertile broadcasting soil of Q95 along with the NDFD. Join us on our journey every Tuesdays and Thursdays from 4 to 5 p.m. One unbroken, exciting hour of free Q95 Radio small business promotion as together we explore all the challenges, the setbacks, the setups, the comebacks, stories, the history, the startups, the breakthroughs, the financing, the sweat, the toil, the sleepless nights, the heartbreaks, the triumphs, the business plan, the overall success in pursuing your small business dream come true in the Commonwealth of Dominica. Join veteran broadcaster Franklin Peter Moses and Mr. Donald Bacasio, highly skilled, qualified, sought-after business and entrepreneurial manager, small business development expert, and strategic business coach. Together, we're taking you and your small business to the pinnacle of success in the Dominican economic landscape. So don't miss Nature Island Small Business Buzz every Tuesdays and Thursdays right here on Q95 Radio, the big station.
Somebody's adding their voice and saying, Matt, it may be true that we have some good police officers, but they remain silent. What about the past experienced officers? Why are they not sharing their knowledge about what is happening? All this senseless arrests and stupid, outdated riot act. So in other words, maybe some of the retired officers should speak up. Somebody's saying that the commissioners should come out now and explain the acts, especially the confirmation process. Where can we go? And we need to bring some documentation. Speaking to the registration process. Let's take a phone call. Are you there? Yeah.
Yes, Matt, I am there. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon to you, sir. How you doing?
Matt, yes, I'm good.
Mm-hmm. What's happening?
Matt,
Yes?
you just mentioned something about good police officers and why are they not speaking out.
Yes.
I am always one of those that even saying that and asking assistance sometimes and saying if they were good, you would hear them, so all of them not good. And the experience that I had last week where I was taken into custody, I saw something that really and truly amazed me.
I really changed your mind about that? That's what you're trying to say?
No, yes, about broad brushing all policemen and say they're all bad.
Okay.
That's what my thought. Because I figure out now, we deliver the demonic system, so everybody in the police department realizes, so it is, so they're just doing, they're doing as it is. That is not the case, and I'm going to say why. The 4 guys who bomb rushed me, well, 4 of them on the van, 3 of them bomb rushed me in front of my door. When we came upstairs, there was one that was very aggressive. That one, you looking at him after in his eyes. Watch him shut in his eyes. When he was the most aggressive one. I know him very well. Because we went to school together, I know him very well. And you can tell the one that's working for the demons, you can tell the one. But there was one from inside my house, when he tells me, take it easy, take it easy. When we go down, the kind of fire I put in the man in the van, I tell him, man, boss, I don't kill nobody to drive in and I have to run away. I don't kick no man or stomach and they have to lose baby. I just telling them man things inside there. All Mr. telling me, take it easy. So when we reach up the station and they put me on the bench, that brother sit down, I watch him in his eyes, and his eyes said a lot, that he just wasn't part of that. But after he explained to me, don't broad brush every police. Not all of us that involved in what that's going on, or not all of us that right what's going on. And then he further explained himself. I put my right hand on my chest, and I extend my left hand pointing at him and said, bro, my humble apologies to you. And then he left me on that bench there behind me. But I want to move from that. Inside there, you have a set of police. When Chaucer came to say that he was the one, Chaucer James, he was the one that was going to investigate me. I knew for a fact he wasn't going to last 2 minutes because of information I have on him. So he really didn't show up. Now the next police that show up, and the others that dealt with me, they are all programmed because they that have to, they will come and bring another police officer, the younger one, to maybe do the type, the writing. But the ones that there, the questions they asking you have nothing to do with anything professional police work. Stuff like, are you a part of the reliability? Are you a part of RIP? Are you a part of all kinds of things like that? And my point is, but you never ask me if I'm a part of Labour Party or I'm a part of I'm concerned citizens. So this group is looking for. So 2 criminal groups people have to be involved in is the coalition, the people that against the what that was happening on that day, and then UWP. So if I was a part of UWP, I would be considered a criminal. If I was member of the RIC or whatever they are, I would be a criminal. And when you hear this question, you know who these people are working for. These people, when they delete you in one segment, they go on their phone and you can tell they're communicating with somebody else. Now that is one set of police you can tell them they'll be looking for Blackmore. You have another set of police there working for the scared rat. And then you have another set of police there that may be working for the big hand, big head commissioner, the gunslinger. And then you have another set that don't even know who they're working for. Now, to further tell you...
So you're basically saying that there are many sets of police officers there in the police service?
Inside there is confusion. Inside there have evil. Inside there have demons. Inside there have man fighting man for position. And politicians are controlling all of them and they don't realize that. Politicians have them. Each time a politician's number reporting to the politician about each other just to get a position. And I know what I'm telling you.
Wow.
To go a little further, whilst I sitting in the cell, you announce, I hear that you have breaking news, the podcast that make me hear it after, that Mervyn Jewel John Baptist was picked up. So Albert Timothy heard that on his radio and he come and give up himself at the police station. You hear me? When he came to the front desk, he said, "Are you looking for me?" the son just doesn't have his name. They're not looking for him. He said, yes, they're looking for me. And he can confirm what I'm saying. Bro, them people go through their group, they make a call. He tell them make a call. They make a call. They're not looking for they have his name on the nothing there. So he went by the gate. He didn't leave, he went by the gate. He parked his car on King George, his van on King George, George the 50th, he just gone by steel. He come and give up himself. When he go at the gate, they don't have nothing. So he asked the person to call CID. And when he gets to CID, that's what it's talking.
Really?
What is that? Really and truly, what I'm telling you, there is no joke. My brother, I am seeing fellas that have ASPI on their door in police stations. And I tell you, they should be in jail in another country. Dominica is a failed state. What I am seeing there, a man that was not supporting the government, he involved in a crime, you flip him over to support the government and give him a good position, and that is policing. I don't know, you're dealing with somebody there. Mark, have a good day. Have a good day.
Have a good day. Have a good day. Outspoken, moving John Baptist. As I said, you must have heard the news by now. Blue granted bail after being arrested with the alleged unlawful assembly on March 19th. After receiving word from the police that she was to report to the police headquarters, she surrendered with a lawyer on April 8th, 2025. She, like the others, has been arrested and charged under the Riot Act. A group of supporters were all there to give us full support. Somebody saying that, of course, we're happy to hear Blue is out, and she called us just a few minutes ago. She did indicate to me that she's not too well, and we might hear her back in action. She have no bail conditions tomorrow. Blue remains strong. Hello, talk to me. Yes. Are you there, caller? Caller, are you there? So somebody's indicating to me. Man, so some people, to get off the hook, to escape criminal charges, it's better to say you're part of the labor administration. Is that how it works? Somebody's asking. And no other organizations, but where I be there in the Commonwealth, other one man, wow. That's a WhatsApp message. By now, you must have heard the news that we're facing a crisis in Dominica. One man dies from leptospirosis and 10 suspected cases in March just last month. Health officials seem very, very concerned and are closely monitoring an increase in leptospirosis cases, which have resulted in the death of one male patient. That's confirmed by Dr. Ahmed, epidemiologist. I have one survivor of lepto and is here to tell his story and warning others to be very, very careful. Mr. Jura, good afternoon to you, sir. How you doing?
Yeah, good afternoon, Matt, and good afternoon to your listeners, both here and abroad, and all those who are listening to Q95.
Well, we're happy
I
to,
guess,
yes, we're happy to have you, sir. We're happy to have you. And you can share your story. I know, as you said, you're a survivor of lepto. Tell us the experience.
well, Matt, boy, I'm so sorry to hear that we're experiencing lepto now. I guess all has to do with the state of our garbage collection and disposal.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and this is horrible, and people need to be careful. But interestingly, Matt, you know where I work?
Yeah, forestry.
And during my tenure there, I was very much involved in the management and husbandry, the care of the parrots at the aviary. And so that was always an issue for us. Leptospirosis was an issue, the issue of, you know, controlling rats, you know, that will affect or infect the food. And so we were always alert on not allowing rats to, you know, infiltrate the enclosures for those birds. And one of the things that we would have in our stock was doxycycline tablets. And it was not just for the birds, but in case we got infected as well. So I was very much alert for a very long time. And thank God we never had issues, you know. But from time to time, we would have to, you know, use a tablet, you know, just waste it and throw it on the food or into the water for the birds. So that would have taken care of that. But in case we felt ill, we were always told in case we felt ill, it was the easiest thing to do just to take a regime of maybe 5 tablets, you know, 1 per day, just in case. And you could do it even before you get yourself checked. And I think Dr. Dangoden spoke to you this morning.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was very good, very, very good information, very, very good. And I agree with him in many, many, many aspects of what he said this morning. And so when I got infected with lepto in 2023, summer in 2023, I was admitted to the hospital. I had tests done. And interestingly, first thing they tested for was dengue. Now, the symptoms of lepto and dengue are similar. And this is something people need to be careful about. So you may well think that you're thinking that you're probably suffering from a flu or a cold or something, and you're suffering from lepto. So people need to take that into consideration as well. And so when they tested me for dengue, the result came back negative. And I think I heard something that the test cannot be done locally. I didn't think that is true because my test.
I guess from the hospital part of it, I think I'm hearing that the private labs it may be available at the private labs. Yes.
Well, yes, because my test was done at the La Falaise. So La Falaise did the test for me. And so when the dengue test came back, it was negative. So then I quickly asked the nurse, you know, what's up with my results? She said, your result came back negative. I said, nurse, are you aware that dengue and leptospirosis have the same symptoms? She said, oh, yes. And then they quickly got La Falaise to do another test to me. And then it came back positive. So then when they
So you basically diagnosed yourself.
Because Matt, I told you that I have always been alert on leptospirosis. And I was always concerned because remember, Ricky Alport, the former director of agriculture, died from leptospirosis as well. And I don't want to go into the details, but that was I have always kept that in the back of my mind, you know, since that time. And working with the birds. And I also raise rabbits, so rats will always interfere with, the food and so forth. So I'm exposed to that as well. And I go in and out of the forest. The forest is an area where there are rats there as well. So it's easy. I have fruits around my yard. Rats will always, try and get some fruit. So you never know. And this is something that we take. I have always been concerned. At home, we wash everything before we use it. Everything. Stuff that comes from the supermarket, everything we use, we make sure that we wash it. Because you need to be very careful. Right? It's easy to get, to get infected from stuff that the rats, would infect. They will drop their urine, on stuff, on food and everything. And it's easy. And if you have, as Dr. Donovan said this morning, if you have an abrasion, a cut, a bruise or something in your hand, it's easy for you to get, contaminated, infected. And there are other ways you can get infected as well. You can also eat something that the rats would probably urinate on. Also, you can probably flush it into your eyes, wash something or whatever, and it can go through your eyes. So there are different ways you can get, infected. And if it goes through, let's say you eat something, right, that rats urinate on, your system has a way of dealing with it. But if it goes into a cut or through your eyes, that's where, it raises the fire. It is easier for you to, the speed, the rate, that's rapid. But to be honest, Matt, all I want to tell people is that, and the system, the people in the health system who are hearing and listening, is that, doxycycline tablets is one of the foremost treatments for lepto. If you're diagnosed, even before you're diagnosed, you could, as Dr. Donovan said, you can use it. But I think you have to get, confirmation. You need to get confirmation. And it's not a drug that is sold over the counter. It's a prescribed drug. So which means that the pharmacies and, the health sector here, I think if we have an outbreak of leptospirosis, we need to stock up on that, because this is one of your lifesavers if you take it on time. And you do not have to take too much of it, just a regime of about 5 tablets. Because when I was in the hospital, I told them that, get me doxycycline tablets. And that's what they did, And after 3 days, I began to see the change. My body started reacting immediately. And then I started feeling much better. I had other, issues to deal with. I spent some time there, and then this God, I was out of there.
But tell me, I mean, some people may be curious. What symptoms did you have at the time when you decided to go to the hospital or to report to a doctor? What were your symptoms?
I did not have any cough. I did not have any cold. But I had headache, and my sugar and my pressure also elevated.
Okay.
Yeah. But to be honest, I had pain. Man, excruciating pain in my knees, my feet, I really cannot even explain that kind of pain I had. Honestly, I'm telling you. And from the time I started taking the doxycycline tablets, I just felt easier. I could get up and go to the washroom much easier at the hospital, and do what I had to do, go and shower and stuff. And then after a while, the pain just eased up.
Well, you're basically saying that education is key, and we need more education on this.
Very, very much so, Matt. I'm telling you. The education on leptospirosis has to flood the airwaves, They need to get out there and begin to go out in rural communities, and if that's what we're having, because the situation with the garbage collection and disposal right now. So I think we need to begin to educate people, and I don't think people should panic. It's not something that you should panic. about, but it's just preparing yourself. Because that's what, when I was in the Avery taking care of the birds, we had stocks of doxycycline tablets, and in the refrigerator. And it was to take care of the birds in case we noticed that they had any, they're showing any signs of, illness, as well as if we felt that we would sick. We could get
one health professional is telling me, and I'm gonna read the text. The person says, Matt, one death? No. More people have died from leptospirosis. Trust me, I know. So maybe the figures they're presenting are not even true.
I don't want to be the one saying that. I have heard that,
I'm telling you what a health professional is telling me.
What I can tell you is, while I was at the hospital, a particular doctor said to me, he said to me, "You're very lucky. You are lucky because there are certain experiences, within there that, and he just said, you are lucky. Go home and take care of yourself." And that is what I've done. I've gone since that time. I've been home, doing what I need to do. I'm very much alert about leptospirosis. I don't think I have to panic and worry too much about that. I think it is something that people should probably find ways and means of stockpiling doxycycline tablets. It's an antibiotic. It's a very good antibiotic because even my animals, my dogs and so on, I used to treat, if my dogs, I see my dog showing certain signs, I'll treat my dog with doxycycline tablets. So it's something that people need to be alert of. And this is the first and foremost. Once you're confirmed that you have lepto, find it. Find doxycycline tablets. Okay, Matt?
All right, thank you very much. We need to talk to you about our parrots sometime soon, eh? Where are our parrots? That's the only question I'm going to ask you for now. Where are our parrots?
The parrots are in a very interesting stage right now. We'll talk about that.
We'll talk about that sometime, yes. So he was the person who exposed this whole parrot story, moving from Dominica, going to Germany. But we'll talk to him sometime because it's an interesting story there. And let's listen to Dr. Dale. He gives some education before we wrap up on the whole lepto issue. As I said, there's an increase on leptospirosis there. Here's Dr. Dale Nagwin as we wrap it up this afternoon. Dr. Dale.
It seems like I'm in an echo chamber because I had a very thorough interview in 2017 and several others with you about that topic. So it seems like we're just going through the same motions again. Leptospirosis, I think at this point, based on what I have seen, is due to the garbage, just sort of accumulating around the country and the lack of, proper garbage disposal from, I would say, rodents. But as you stated earlier, lepto is a bacterial infection. But I think one of the misconceptions that it's only from rats. So if the rats are running around with lepto and they come in contact with other animals, then you could also get it from the other animals, dogs. Because I know we have a dog problem in Point Michel, a really bad dog problem in Point Michel. There's pigs that go uncontrolled now and a lot of other wild animals that I saw in the Castle Bruce area. So there's a lot of things going on that could just keep this lepto going on and on and on. Another thing is, how do you get lepto? It's usually from direct contact with the urine, for example, of the rat, right? But it can enter your body through different routes, not just your mouth, not just your mucous membrane. If you have a cut, if you have an abrasion, a scratch on your skin, the lepto can go in that way. So we have to educate ourselves. It's not just when you're drinking water that has rat piss in there or rat, droppings. So we have to educate ourselves in terms of how we get the leptospirosis, right? So you might just go to the garbage dump, put your bag down and touch a bag that a rat was on last night with fresh urine on there. You have a cut on your finger. You can get lepto from that. The other issue is this. Lepto has two phases, two very crucial phases that the clinician and the patient must be aware of. The first phase is where you really should take concern because that's your chance of survival. Patients who get treated with the first phase have less than 1% mortality, less than 1% chance of dying.
Mm-hmm.
But once you get to the severe form, which include multi-organ failure, which is what our friend had, then you're talking about between 50 to 70% mortality. So again, your body starts shutting down, your lungs start shutting down, your kidneys start shutting down. It's too late. The initial treatment for the first phase, and again, the doctors cannot, if somebody comes to you, you cannot say, go away, you just have the cold or whatever. You have to have some sort of clinical suspicion, right? The patient themselves must also tell you about the exposure. So all that is important in terms of the clinical scenario, because that first phase is just antibiotics. Azithromycin, doxycycline, any of these antibiotics, and you should be good, right? But once it hits your immune system, and you go into what's called hemorrhagic shock, you start bleeding out of your lungs, your kidneys start failing, then it's too late. There's nothing you can do. You could just hospitalize the patient and put them in the ICU and try to give them supportive care and hope that the immune system can fight it. But usually that does not happen and the patients succumb to lepto. But I think prevention, and I know a lot of folks are saying government. But again, we have to be responsible for our own little area in terms of, disposing of the garbage and how we deal with it. I can tell you from our village, I've walked by some of these places where you're supposed to put garbage, and they're not in the area. They're not in the concrete area. They're still outside, and no one is taking the initiative to put some gloves on and say, you know what, let us contain this. Let's deal with this.
So you're saying we have some blame to take as society.
Absolutely, because it's your environment and it's your health, right? We know that the government has failed in regards of the amount of trucks and having this thing, well thought out in how you do this. I have said before that every district should have an X amount of trucks and people from that area employed to do the work. And if you do this properly, then it will work. But we don't have good garbage disposal in Dominica. You see it in Roseau, you see it in all the outstanding village. People just dump their garbage and they expect, right? This expectation is one of the worst things that could happen to any of us in any regard, in any segment of our lives. And it applies here also. Because if you see the garbage piling up, you as a community member should bring attention to it. The village council should play a part, which, that in of itself is the whole problem. We have to be responsible for our health, because I can tell you the way the healthcare system is right now, once you get phase 1, you most likely might not seek care. And by the time you get to phase 2, which is the Wills disease that you talk about, it's too late and you die. And this has nothing to do with either you're extremely young or you're extremely old or it attacks anyone. And we have to be responsible and stop saying, you know what, the government. How long have we been saying the government? Yes, I have said many times the government needs to go. We need to change. Dominica needs to breathe. But in this scenario of health, we cannot sit by and watch the garbage just pile up on our front steps or on our doorsteps and do nothing about it as a community and sit there waiting for our saviors to come.
So going forward, Dr. Dale, I mean, we face a lot of repercussions if we don't deal with the problem at this time.
Absolutely, you already have. If you have one death, you might have had another death that you don't even know is lepto, right? So that is where we're going from. Some people you might go to somebody's home and they pass and you say, well, you know what, they maybe have a heart attack or they maybe had it and maybe they had lepto, right? The clinical suspicion has to be there. The laboratory testing has to be done, but it has to be done in a timely manner, and the results have to also be in a timely manner, right? Once you get to where your liver enzymes and your kidney enzymes are high, I think you're behind the 8 ball, right? And the question that we must ask the epidemiologist is, where are we in terms of the testing? Do we have testing facilities? What is the turnaround in getting the result, right? Do we have doxycycline? Do we have amoxicillin? Do we have these antibiotics available? And if you get hospitalized and you're in the ICU with severe leptospirosis, what IV antibiotics do you have? What supportive care do you have, right? How is your dialysis unit? How many ventilators do you have? Do you have blood transfusion capabilities if there's severe bleeding? These are the kind of things that we need to talk. Another thing I want to emphasize, Matt, is, swimming. And we have contained areas of water. And lepto can be in the water also. So you have to be careful where you swim. Right? I'm not talking about the ocean. I'm not talking about a running river. I'm talking about, some area where you have a bassin or you have a pool that is not properly chlorinated, not properly taken. All these things can have lepto, right? When you're dealing with garbage, even if it's your own garbage, even if you have a rat issue at your house and the bag is there and you just grab it with your bare hands to put it outside, right? You could get contaminated because you're not wearing the proper gloves. You're not wearing the proper, things that's gonna, not get you contaminated.
Well, but I'm very concerned, Dr. Dale. You made mention about testing, and you need to do that very quickly because we're hearing there from the Dr. Ahmed that this test has to be sent overseas, and that's very concerning.
That's too late. That's too late. If you have to send blood test overseas, it's too late. So you need the biggest thing you can do right now before I go is rodent control. You got to control the rats. People laugh when they say people up here vaccinate their dogs and vaccinate this, and you have to have some sort of programs because some of these animals carry these diseases. Right? Now, if somebody comes to the hospital and you have a suspicion of lepto, especially if it's phase 1, this is what is the most important with what I would say to the public, is this. If somebody comes to the hospital or to the clinic and you have a suspicion of lepto and you know that you cannot perform the test, go ahead and prophylactically treat the patient with doxycycline. Give the patient the doxycycline because what you will have if you don't treat them prophylactically is you're going to have a severe case that's going to end up in death.
And I'm getting some information at this time. There are a lot more people. Some sources is saying to me now that may have died. I'm telling you because I know a lot of more deaths have occurred there, and by the time they get to the ICU, it's too late. So that time that they have to send these samples overseas is just I don't know. It's like a mess. Why do we have to wait?
Right. Because the facilities have not been put into place. Remember, and also remember this: public. These are the key things, right? If you have a lot of rain, the rainy season is on you right now. If you have a lot of rain and a lot of flood and a lot of stagnant water, and you have a rat problem, you have leptospirosis, right? And the physicians, the clinicians, the nurses, they cannot misdiagnose. They could say, well, maybe this is a virus, or maybe this is, dengue or some other disease, and you miss that boat. You don't give the doxycycline. That patient is going to most likely die in Dominica because, like you said, you don't have the rapidity of the test. You don't have anything in terms of making the diagnosis quickly. The PCR, I'm sure that's what he's talking about. He's talking about the PCR test. If you don't have the PCR, which is the early detection in the blood or the urine, right? The patient is going to die. If you do a culture, if you do a blood culture or urine culture, that could take 5 to 7 days before you get results back. So you don't have the facility. You might as well stock up on doxycycline so you could treat patients that you have a high clinical suspicion of leptospirosis.
I'm hearing another confession, Matt. I'm hearing that there's a leptospirosis outbreak. There's a very serious concern as a leptospirosis infected survivor in 2023. Once the result of the test is confirmed, this antibiotic tablets has to be administered almost immediately. But we need to get this test done right here in Dominica.
But Matt, you see what you just said is when the test. No, if the clinician has a high suspicion, if you have a high clinical suspicion, you should go ahead and start the doxycycline. And that's another question that we have. How much antibiotics is available? Because right now, if you have an outbreak and you have, 10 to 15 people showing up at a time, Do you have enough antibiotics to prophylactically treat this patient? You see what I mean? And that is the issue. That is the issue. Another thing is, we're talking about lepto. There is another disease, and I've mentioned this before if you go through the archives, that comes from the droppings of the rat. It's called hantavirus. Hantavirus, it gets into your lungs. It's a horrible form of respiratory failure. It takes its time, but you could also get that from rat droppings. These are the things that in the epidemiologist needs to come, not just come on a public platform and say, well, we have an outbreak, but educate the public. Tell them what to do in terms of if you have a rodent issue, right? What they should do if they have a clinical suspicion that they have the disease. You have to break it down in the public domain so they can fully understand, and also talk about your limitations. Talk about what you don't have. Talk about what you have, and talk about how things can be better, because that's how you put the people at peace when something like this happens, right? You don't want to create panic, but you don't just come out and say we had a death from lepto. You want to go further and say this is what we're putting in place, and this is what you as a community needs to do to combat this.
Dr. Dale Dangerman, as always, thank you very much for your education. I guess we'll talk to you very soon. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. I know you have a busy schedule.
Take it easy.
All right, Dr. Dale Dangerman.
Hey, brothers.
And Dominica, this is how we wrap it up here for the afternoon on the Talk on the Block. We'll be back tomorrow. There's a lot of other issues to explore. I'm hoping that the health officials paid some attention there. More education is needed.
Somebody chanted the weed. Somebody in top. Other people.
I'll be back tomorrow, God is willing.
Somebody gonna take the country far. Somebody putting all the bandits away. If they do the crime, they're going to damn well pay. But somebody promising a human right, while somebody threatening to put out their life. The more trees full with little teenage boys. A police have to wait and put an end to the toy. Now they're lying cold for them mama to born. The night be gone, the cold each one. You see they want the fucking fun with blue silk. They want the stuff you drinking full cream milk. The little red silk is not their true friend. The blue one have to extra north on the end. So I tap on the promise, now they take it to hell. But look where we reach, well, I hear a madman call. As he spread out on the wall, he said, this is it, stop it. No time to give up, brother, no time to quit. In the scale from a straight line, we need the chance of the man. It's the only salvation. I feel the chance of a man. In the scale from a straight line, we need the chance of the man. Anyway, you tell somebody chanting to we, but to we and we go set you free. Somebody promising natural law. He end all the war. Seek in the peace, end all the pain. The same woman promising to put on the head. Somebody promising to run all the bread. Somebody saying a world like that. Somebody out the weed well fast. But somebody let in the cocaine pass. Somebody promised to opponents the tax. Somebody promised to do really fast. Somebody promised to clean up the land. But in this clean land, rats still killing man. We bright little youth going to waste. Somebody hinge the smile on the face. Somebody take one love off the shelf. 21 voice that will sell out the fan. Somebody going to end all this talk about race, but they can't tell me that way that's straight. People been dying, the crime can't solve. A madman around this may only resolve. I hear the madman shout as he lay on a rock. He said, this, I've been hit, but no time to give up, brother, no time to quit. I tried to in the scale from a straight line. It was a chant of a
man in the field from a straight line. It's the chance of the madman. It's the only salvation.
Because he has set his love upon me, therefore will I deliver him. I will set him on high, because he has known my name. He shall call upon me, and I will answer him. I will be with him in trouble. I will deliver and honor him. With long life will I satisfy him and show him my salvation.
Because of iniquity, dig a pit for me. No waiting for me to fall in. Now take my bread and butter, with lies and propaganda. But if you will not be afraid of what you man, you see me so funny. You see, oh God, that's no man. He can never oh God, that's no man. He shall be all these years of toil, burning the midnight oil, creating something from nothing. Now we reach maturity, popularity. Is their own thing. Sure, so the devil deceives us. You see, oh, that's no we shall never oh, shall all the envy and jealousy, it's harmony and frustrating. For whosoever get of it, they shall fall in it. What is so in they shall be reaping. But my house is down. The foundation is down. You see, oh God, he shall never oh God, he shall
At Q95, we are family. Join your family. You can send emails, request songs, name your top 10 songs of the week, and even tell us the music that you want to hear. And stay on top of the latest news and entertainment. Hear it first as it happens. Stay in touch. Call our sales office at 767-448-5822 or call our on-air live talk shows at 767-449-3095, 3096, and 30.